By all means, if it's helpful, continue. Should I need to continue? Yeah, continue.
Okay, so ma'am, welcome to Entrepreneur Cell. This is Entreview. I am Ruchi Jain. I'm Executive Admin Department of ESL KC College. And him.
And ma'am, I am Shaunak Punjabi. I'm the PR HOD for ESL KC College. We also have Executive Kunal Dawar from the Content Department and Executive Darshit from Networking.
Oh, wonderful. Lovely to meet you all.
So, ma'am, we have recently researched a lot about you and your company. So, could you tell us something about yourself that we are unaware of? We would love to know.
Unaware of, I don't know what all because there's not much I have put it out there on social media, but
like your journey, your college journey, basically.
College journey, I am not from Bombay, so I've come from a city called Bhopal. 20 years back, Bhopal was much more smaller than it's still. Because of internet today, it's much more bigger. People are more cosmo there. People have more exposure. I came to Bombay to study because during my times, we didn't have that kind of exposure, what you guys have today. Yes. So, and I was looking for colleges and I wanted to do something in media. And there were hardly any courses at bachelor's level when I was looking for it. It's back in 2001. So I had written to a lot of colleges in different parts of the country. Tab chithi likhi jati thi. So emails, nobody would respond. If we would send emails also, people would not bother to respond. So chithi likhe, I had sent letters everywhere. And I got a reply from Wilson College BMM coordinator. He recommended, he said, you can join Wilson, you can try coming to KC. And he had, I think, mentioned Jai Hind and National. 4 colleges he had mentioned to me. And then I came to Bombay. I went for a round of interviews. And by the time when I came to Bombay, I don't know if any one of you are outstation student or if the procedure has changed. The procedure was such that once we come to Bombay, we had to get a certificate from Bombay University that would be issued in 7 days. After that, we could apply for any kind of college. Only after showing that certificate, they would give us the form. So that bureaucratic procedure, I lost a lot of time. And then by then all admissions were done. And then finally, I think God was just kind. I got through without any much hassle. So I had done my first semester in Somaya College. So I went to Somaya and the professor asked me that we have done with admissions. All colleges were shut. Nobody was entertaining any BMM application because their list had also come. And also what happens, Bombay, the results come early, unlike in other places in North India, where results come a month later as compared to HSC in Bombay. So she just asked me to narrate one story of Romeo and Juliet. I narrated that and she said, okay, come join in. I finished my first sem there. And because I wasn't very happy with the equipment, we didn't have really much cameras and editing software at Somaya. So I came to KC. I met the coordinator there, Manjula ma'am. And she just interviewed me like for 10 minutes, nothing much. And then I said, will I get the admission? Because KC had a good repute and it was difficult to get through. So she said, whatever you've told me in 10 minutes, works come from tomorrow. So I got my admission in KC in like good 10 minutes. And I joined from the second semester, I joined KC. And then I finished my entire BMM from KC. So it was wonderful experience because one got a lot of exposure and teachers were very nice. Students were very nice. At least my class, we had such great mix of people coming from very, very different backgrounds. And for somebody like me who was outstation, didn't had much exposure, people were very kind. I mean, I had heard horror stories where people said, bigger city, big college, big problems, but nothing like that happened. I think I was just, you're good. If you get good people, half job is done.
Yeah,
you just need good company.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's my KC story. And KC that way they were at least pushy enough to tell you to do projects. That time BMM had a very good module because everything was 50%. Now I think it's changed a lot because I get a lot of BMM interns working with us. And now the stress is not that much on projects. When we were the second batch of BMM with Bombay University, 50% had to be your projects, which gave us great exposure because you're constantly traveling, you're constantly out of your college in the industry trying to understand things. And some good professors they got us. One was the in-house professors, but also the working faculty was very nice.
Yes, ma'am.
They didn't tell us that, you'll get out from here and the world is very beautiful. They told us world is not that great outside. You better work hard.
Reality.
You're not
Prepared you for the worst. Yeah.
Yes. So that way they were nice. They didn't tell us that, okay, you got to be masters of things. They told us, chota shuru karo, but theek shuru karo.
Yes.
The grounding was good, actually, what I would say in a nutshell. Pretty decent grounding. And also in a lot of colleges, what happened, they put you in a situation where you feel you know it all.
Yes.
I think that is one thing Casey did, where they just break you down little and tell you ki duniya aisi hoti hai.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So
Absolutely.
this is what the journey of Casey has been. And then the festivals were good. There were a lot of festivals used to happen, which at least gave us opportunity to go to different colleges and understand.
Yes,
The only thing is, because Casey also has so many students, it's difficult to concentrate on specific number of people. That's the only thing, but I think that's the case with any big college now. That
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
very difficult. Like even if you have a theater cell, there are like 70 people. How do you create a play between 70 people? So those are things, but otherwise, at least it was a good exposure, good grounding to work in.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, moving on to your business, which is Greek Goddess Media. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Greed.
Goddess Media. Yes, sorry. So, I wanted to ask, like, what is your journey so far with it, Greed Goddess Media, and how did you start it? Like, what was the process behind it?
So I was never someone who wanted to separately be an entrepreneur. I used to work with Star TV and make shows for them. It's only when I started doing MasterChef India, I fell in love with food, because I used to do all kind of non-fiction shows. Sorry, from your dance, game shows, singing, the typical weekend programming what we used to see 10 years back on Indian TV. That's what I was doing. And then MasterChef came to me, and I decided to do it, because that was a show. We had never done something like MasterChef in India before. It was always instructional cooking. So it was a big decision for us, because it's a very, very expensive format. It's an expensive show. And we were not very sure. Sorry, I don't know why firecrackers are happening. Something is happening. Is India won a match or something? Is there cricket
No.
match today?
Shadi,
No,
maybe shadi. Someone's marriage.
anyway, sorry for the cracker.
Yeah, we are used to it, ma'am. We are used to it. Yeah.
So I think that's how the love for food happened. With over 4 seasons of working on MasterChef, I somehow got very convinced that I genuinely like food and I want to work on food programming. So I quit. After 7 years working in Star, I decided to, without any plan, I decided to quit. I knew I wanted to do something around food, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. A lot of people around me were very upset. They said it's a hopeless decision to quit at the stage where you probably are doing very, very well. And I was at a pretty decent position in Star and very comforting. So the only thing I had to tell myself, that once I step out, see, with power comes comfort. And once you're in a powerful situation, everyone listens to you. Once you're on a reverse side, nobody, they can say as many nice things to you while you're in power. But when you go to the reverse side, nobody really gives a damn. That's the only thing my husband had told me. He said, you are a creative director. You will move to being nobody. So you got to just, can you handle that dynamic? And that's the only thing I had to do, where when I quit, I traveled the country for 6 months. I backpacked. I traveled wherever, whatever money. I told him, give me one sum of money every month in my account. Don't give me a lot of money in the account. So that responsibility, I left it on him. Because money will be there, I will go back to my comfort. This was my journey of 6 months to rough it out. See, I was a traveler while even in college. I had traveled a lot, backpacked a lot, but I was used to of the घर से पैसा आता था. So it was very minimum. So I was used to of staying in hostels, taking lift in trucks, everything. So one didn't mind doing then, but after you have lived a life of a certain kind of comfort, it's very difficult to break free, where you're used to of a driver, where you're used to of a certain class of flying, or extreme amount of comfort, and corporates do that. They do that to you because they know it's going to be very difficult to quit. They'll give you everything possible. They'll give you best hotels, best places to go and eat, family holidays, वो भी दे देते हैं कि बस अब निकल के देखो तुम यहाँ से. So that's what had happened to me, that I traveled for 6 months and then ate food across, understood people more, and probably that got back me to my grounding. And then I said, okay, let me start something. So I started writing a blog, which eventually I'd shut. But that's where the name Greek Goddess Media came in, because I was wondering what to do. And then it was a journey. It started with somebody giving me a contract of launching a cookbook. Then somebody said, Acha, thoda sa ye kar do. I also dabbled into catering and making cupcakes and selling. All that I did. And finally, I was doing a documentary in 2015 that gave me a direction that maybe I should probably make food shows or things related to what I love. And that's how Greek Goddess really happened. And now we make food shows, majorly food and travel shows. Then we do documentaries and bit of content here and there, but mostly stick to food and travel. That's
So,
what we do.
yeah. So did you turn your passion into a business, or you wanted this business to, go on like from beginning?
I love eating and I love traveling, and hence this works best. So I think it's the best of both worlds. I don't really feel I go to work. My office is 5 minutes walk from my house. I come as I'm going to chill at a place. My office environment is such where my team says कि यहाँ से नौकरी छोड़ के कहीं जाते हैं तो काम काम लगता है. So we enjoy ourselves and work. And also the only thing which I've done is I've not pushed myself to do a lot of work. As a policy, I don't sign up on more shows. I do 3 to 4 shows maximum a year. Even if someone throws money at my face, I still will not do, because I've done this journey to enjoy, to something I relish and I love. I don't want to reach a point where I feel ki it's a choice you make if wanting to be happy or wanting to make more money. Because whenever you get into the rut of making more money, it becomes exhausting, as probably it's your passion. But if you're doing the same thing a lot of time, it's going to burn you out. So that's a balance one tries to do that. And that's a balance we have tried at our place, where we do shows and also one thing we try to do is not to do repeated content, because then you're not learning. So the idea is that whatever, if the project comes in, we look at that, am I learning something from that project? If I'm learning, I'm going to do that. If I'm not learning, I'm not going to do that.
Agreed.
Next time you make a food and travel show, please think of us college students.
Please. There's always space for food tasting, eating, traveling, everything with us. You're most welcome.
Yes, ma'am. We are in, definitely. So my next question is that when you were starting, do you wish that you would know something that you know right now, like something you would have done differently?
I think maybe discipline. That's it. I'm a night bird, but when I realize, also what happens is, see, in a corporate company, when you're leading a team, there are a lot of things at stake. Your own self is at stake. While when you're running your business, you got to be very motivated all the time. I'm not a person who's like that. So I wish I had that naturally. I have to push myself, because I'm not someone who, see, when you are there are different people. So there are people who are highly motivated all the time. I am not that. So I have to really push myself, because if I push myself, my team will move. So that's something I'm disciplined, because coming from a content background, we are not greatly disciplined humans, I feel. And that's a problem across content field. I've not seen any content person who's very disciplined.
I'm not with content, with all fields nowadays. Hashtag relate. we also need that push, like our parents are like, please, bhai, you have to study, you have to work.
Correct.
So we need that. We need that thappad on our face.
So that's one thing I felt. But I think everything is a journey. So you learn, you go through that journey and you have your learnings. I feel there's no point blaming ourselves, because everything is by the end of the day a journey. So now today I understand value of time far more than I ever did. Now every minute for me, but there are days when I don't do anything and I'm okay with that. While I was in a corporate company, not doing used to be a problem. कि अरे कुछ काम नहीं है आज. Like if I had a chill day, I didn't know how to spend a chill day. I was like a maniac working all the time and making everyone work like that. That's one thing which has come good out of it, that when I don't have a show, or if I don't want to think that one day, I give myself that break, that it's okay. Also, when you're in a, I mean, there are times it's also depend on if how much you want to race for things. For me, I don't want to race anymore. I want to enjoy what I do. So if I'm not getting a certain show, it is okay. I'm fine with it. For me, the end point is that by the end of the day, whatever I'm working, I should be able to travel more, meet more people, to understand their lives and just observe things. So I also take not holidays, but like when we are not working, we shut office. So there are times when there is no one for two months, my office is shut, because I just feel that this is the time I need to sit and research, to understand, to read. So those are things, that's a choice one makes. Maybe I will never be able to make that kind of money, but I'm happy with that. It's a thing when you choose, and that's what I've chosen. That I feel the time I spend between books or researching, because I write on food, I enjoy it thoroughly. There's
And
nothing more amazing than, for me at least, researching gives me joy. So I'm okay shutting the office. I'm okay not doing, missing on a certain amount of money, because this is the choice I've made. The only thing
mental
you have to
peace.
let go of is, as an entrepreneur, that probably you might not have the best clothes to wear or best jewelry to shine yourself. But I'm glad doing that. That in a year, if I can take just 2 months doing nothing, just researching,
You're
that's what I.
happy at the end.
Yeah,
Mental
I,
mental peace.
yeah, I mean, you should do what you like. Like, I have friends who are very driven entrepreneurs, and they love, by the end of the day, their profit and P&L should be this. I least care of my P&L, not for any other reason, but because that's a choice I have made. So we all have our options, what we like. And like, I see them and they are constantly like, why aren't you working? Why are you letting go of these 2 months? I said, that's my piece. And your piece is to work for those 2 months. So we
Yes, ma'am.
balance it out.
So, ma'am, as you said, you are from Bhopal. So, Bhopal has a very different variety of foods. So, have you tried any of different unique combinations from that dishes?
I have eaten everything in Bhopal, like everything possible. There are some amazing combinations. There's something called, I don't know anyone in this country will ever, weird combinations. It's called barfili rabdi. It's ice and topped up with rabdi. It's a weird combination. I mean, at any human level, people might not even like to eat that. But I mean, when you're in that area and you eat that, you enjoy it. In isolation, if you think of barfili rabdi, you'll be like, what nonsense is this? Baraf ke upar rabdi. Who eats that? ठीक.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
And also,
listening to it, I
sorry,
listening
please
to you, I also want to have barfili rabdi. Listening to you.
try next time when you go to Bhopal. Let me know. Crazy people. We are extremely lazy humans as a race. Everyone is a Nawab in Bhopal. So, किसी को काम मतलब, if you tell somebody to come at 7 o'clock shoot, they will not see your face till 9 o'clock. So if you're shooting at 7, you have to give them time at 5 o'clock. I've done one shoot in Bhopal and I pulled my hair in my own city because कभी कोई time पे नहीं आता था. हम नहीं पहुंचते थे time पे. That's another thing I've learned as an entrepreneur, that you better be on time. So that's the one thing I've changed for myself. I used to never be on time, like 10 minutes late, not half an hour late. 10 minutes. Procrastination to another level. पहुंच जाएंगे, पहुंच जाएंगे, पहुंच जाएंगे. Now I try to be 15 minutes before कि पहुंच तो जाएंगे कम से कम. But yeah, so, but it's important to travel. I think as young kids, you also should travel. There's nothing better on earth to travel.
Definitely, man. We will. Have any suggestions? Where should we go?
Go anywhere, go at any, whatever pocket you have, expand accordingly. First, see if you're, for example, if you have very little money, just go around Maharashtra first and meet people. Also ask questions. What Indian education system doesn't teach any one of us is questioning. And that's why what you see countries state today is because we have never asked questions. That's something I've learned later in life. My school never taught me. Bombay, even in college, I didn't learn that. It's only gradually I realized that I met people who really question. Sometimes they would irritate you, but it's always hota kya, as an Indian we have a habit of telling about ourselves rather than hearing from other people.
Yes.
When you're traveling, when you talk to people, you will hear the perspective of a nation, your perspective of the region. Even for example, if you're going, in terms of entrepreneurship to as a certain product, you're developing a product. If you're meeting people and asking them without telling them that you're asking for a certain product, you will get very, very pure answers. And traveling does that to you. Traveling makes it very easy to ask questions.
Yes.
What happens if you go from an MBA degree and you then ask as a researcher, acha bataiye kya. People will tell you on a calm chalao answers and they'll move on. The moment you get into through them as a friend or as a traveler or just as somebody who's just curious about life, they'll give you such amazing answers which will help you. It happens to us because when we research food, we don't take it from internet. So if I'm putting a food show, I travel to the place to know. Now if I generally ask and acha iska recipe kya hai, they're never going to tell me. Like, why? Who are you to ask me, wala? आप दोस्ती यारी खाते में you sit with a cup of chai with them, random politics की कहानी, घर की कहानी, यहाँ की कहानी, they'll tell you everything. So it's very important that as an entrepreneur, please ask questions. And even at times it might annoy people. Be curious for everything. There's nothing better than being curious. A curious cat, but it's okay. It's better to be a curious cat than just
Yes.
be quiet.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So my question to you is that when you began Great Goddess Media, what were the main challenges you faced? Like the biggest issues?
One was the paperwork. See, Indian paper, I think now I've heard it's become better. Also, not everyone has money to give it to lawyers to really set up things for you. And I feel it's always good to do it yourself क्योंकि आप एक बार चक्की में पिस जाते हो, nobody can fool you.
Yes.
So that was one big challenge of understanding. Secondly is like I'm not very good with maths. So my biggest challenge constantly is the loans with bank. Because banks can fool you like nobody's business. Ye interest zyada, ye interest come, and you're sitting and breaking your head that I've been paying every month. Why the interest is not coming low? Because as a business entity, you have to take bank loans constantly. Like if you have a new project, you're taking a loan, then you do a resharing of that loan, then you try to take another loan from another bank. So it's that's one subject which I never wanted to get into. I realized you can't run away. So I had to get into, as much as I hate it, I sit with my bankers, I sit with my accounts guy, and you have to resolve it. And another thing with an entrepreneur, सारा काम खुद करना पड़ता है. So be prepared for that. In Star TV, I had you have a team to do things. So I was very lazy. I had everyone to do everything. As an entrepreneur, because money is going from your pocket, you're looking at every penny which is going out. So if I don't need a DA, I'll say forget it. I don't have to hire a DA. So you end up you're practically working 24/7. As an entrepreneur, you never have a off. There's never a chutti, but it has its own joy. Like when I'm running a show, I'm in my office till I go back home, have dinner, come back. I'm in office till 4 in the morning. Then I go sleep, come back at 8 o'clock. You end up doing, but you have to do it and not give up. And I think every entrepreneur, probably the most richest entrepreneur, will also largely end up working 24/7 a day and 7 days a week. There's no running away. You are on a holiday. You probably, in a corporate job, you can say ki, your email will say, I am off. Or if I'm away from these days. As an entrepreneur, agar deal aapki atke, what do? You're sitting in Timbuktu, you're still going to take a call and sit in a cafe and actually do a business deal. Or you will run around for network. I've done that million of times where I'm on a holiday, but kaam ko koi entrepreneur mana nahi karta hai. If it's a work you want to do. And so you end up doing it.
So
And it's
what are
learning
you?
of doing everything on your own.
Yeah, right. So what are you hoping to accomplish next? Like, will you try to something else beside your current occupation, or you have to decide here?
We have actually been working on something which is an e-commerce for spices and household stuff, which is very specific to region, like how if you look at Indian regional spaces, now a certain ingredient is it only grows in that region. So how can we access that in different parts of the country? So we are trying that. It's not a very lucrative thing, so we are still working on the concept, and we have got vendors, but the logistics has been taking time, and with pandemic it's been a big break. So maybe if that happens, we'll do that next, but not much. That's something maybe. And also we are working on papers on sustainability, so that's something I'm very passionate about, where we are trying to now give research money to people to start working on different kind of concepts of food related to future, because the way things are decaying, in like maybe 40 years we might just be eating out of cans, unfortunately.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Ma'am,
we are just,
so, ma'am,
please,
please
please.
go ahead. Sorry. No. You're saying something.
We're just trying to figure out, because see, with a lot of these young people, a lot of youngsters who are very passionate about food but don't really have the means. And also what happens, the research part is very tricky, and nobody really gives research funding on food unless until you come from a university. So we are trying to figure out ways where without being academically qualified, like for example, I'm not we are not an institution, we are just a working business, but we are trying to figure out ways where we can fund certain kind of food research, which probably will help us to understand the environment a little better, and also what
Yes,
can grow, what probably people would be eating in future. So
yes,
that's
ma'am.
something I'm trying to do, because there is a lot of work on future food one has to do. So that's what we are doing on the side.
And so moving on to my final question is that what is your definition of being successful, and what is something you would like to tell the new generation of entrepreneurs? What should they do? How to become successful? Like basically that.
See, my definition of successful is being happy. Happy is a state of mind. You got to be very happy with whatever you do. And in terms of your generation, I think you guys are doing a lot of work yourself. Just keep doing it. Don't depend on other. The day you decide that you want to do something on your own, go for it. Don't
Yes,
look
ma'am.
for money ki paisa investment utna nahi hai to nahi hoga. Investment comes, ho jata hai once you get to do it. The problem with current generation, or I think it's not current generation, it's every generation has gone through, is about doing things. We don't end up doing. We plan and we feel, "Arey, bahut sara hai, chhod do." So I think that's something you got to do. Just go for it. You guys are anyway so much aware of things happening around, so good in terms of technology. We still are learning. So
Yes,
your
ma'am.
generation is far ahead of us when it comes to technology. And the life, everything in future is going to be technology.
Yes.
Technology and content, which will marry hand in hand, and that's what we'll be living and breathing. So you just what you like, just go for it. Don't think if somebody says this is going to fail, kya hoga? Fail hi hoga. Restart again. Don't get
Yes, ma'am.
scared.
And
That's
so
all. I'm
if we are ever in a issue or we have something, we'll definitely reach out to you for some advice.
do that. I don't know how good I'll be with advice, but just you're most welcome. Come for a cup of coffee. We'll feed you good coffee, and yeah, we'll sit
Yes,
and
ma'am.
chat.
Krishi, we should definitely come to your office sometime. Oh,
Do that.
it's in
Come.
Mumbai only.
It's
Yeah.
Bombay, but it's very far from your college. We are in Goregaon East, very near to Oberoi Mall. So yeah, you have my number. Do come over if you're around. We'll sit and
Definitely,
have
ma'am.
good coffee.
Definitely,
We,
ma'am.
we'll
If
take
my
that
chefs are
invitation.
around, they'll bake us something which we will. That's why we never end up losing weight here, because their chefs cooking every other day. So yeah, we'll eat something nice.
Definitely. Ma'am, if can we just click a picture so that we can post it on our social medias?
Yeah, please do that, and you can tag us so we'll reshare it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Rishi, can you take a picture?